Hello everyone and welcome back to Scarlet Violet Terra Raid Counters. Today, we have the upcoming Iron Bundle Terra Raid event. This is actually my Iron Bundle from Competitive, which is Terra Grass. So it's not going to be the exact thing of what's going to be going on, but I think it's going to be a fairly decent approximation of what Iron Bundle is going to be bringing, because it is an Iron Bundle. This thing looks either extremely easy or incredibly jerkish. And before we go over all the counters, there is one anti-counter you should not be using against this thing. I know people are going to be bringing Chi-Yu to this thing. They see the negative special defense that exists on Iron Bundle. They see frickin' Beads of Ruin that this thing crushes special defense, and they see it is a fire type against a Terra Ice thing. Do not bring Chi-Yu against Iron Bundle. You do not decrease its special defense that much because it's percentage based, and this will make it so all of your allies also lose their special defense, letting this pretty aggressive special sweeper obliterate you. Do not bring Chi-Yu, please. But before we get on to the counters, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more. If we reach 3K subs by the end of this year, we are going to be doing a Nuzlocke of Pokemon Radical Red. I'm going to be doing that blind. As well as in 2 weeks, we have a shiny giveaway going up. One of you will be walking away with a shiny Rayquaza. And now to the counters of the Iron Bundle Terra Raid. This thing is of course going to be pure Ice type, and with Iron Bundle's non-existent special defense stat, you're going to want to use special attackers. Because it actually has a fairly reasonable physical defense stat with its not great HP normally, but when you have 35 times normal HP, and access to Snowscape Aurora Veil, this thing is going to be an almost uncrackable wall, physically speaking, where its special defense is much more easily targeted. So you're going to want to go with special attackers. This includes the newly received Event Shiny Lucario, and you're going to want to kit it out with Nasty Plot in either Aura Sphere or Flash Cannon, depending on which one you want to go with, or even both, because now you can go with the Stellar Terra type, which Stellar Terra type works infinitely in Terra Raids and boosts all of your moves to double power if they are your natural stats. And it doesn't only work once. This thing was designed for Terra Raids, and this is going to be ideal for these raids. Lucario, however, is not the best answer against Iron Bundle. It is possibly the most accessible and the easiest one for most people to use, because people want to use Lucario, but the best one is Gholdengo. Now, all these Pokemon are going to be wanting to use the Shell Bell. Please disregard the held items on them presently. Many of these are my competitive ones, which are in battle teams, and retooling them would kind of completely mess up all the teams I'm using for competitive things. So, for all of these, you're going to want the Shell Bell. And Gholdengo is, in my opinion, the better of the two to go with. At least of the two best ones, Lucario and Gholdengo itself. The reason for this, the natural typing of Steel is fantastic, but Gholdengo possesses significantly better special defense than Lucario, as well as significantly better HP, allowing it to take hits better, as well as a higher special attacking stat. Both of them have Flash Cannon access, but Gholdengo's is significantly more powerful. Because Iron Bundle is so absurdly fast, you're not going to be able to outspeed that thing. So it's better to put everything you have into special defense and special attack with the Shell Bell, so you can heal off as much damage as possible while surviving its hits as well as possible. Gholdengo also does possess the vastly more powerful Make It Rain, allowing it to still do out extremely high amounts of damage while not really suffering too huge of a penalty, because it can just Nasty Plot those debuffs away, or only suffering -1 penalty instead of, well, a lower power move, only allowing you to blitz straight through it. Other than the Gholdengo, Iron Moth is a fantastic option. It also does damage as well as support because of its access to Acid Spray and Fiery Dance. Causing both of these moves allow it to somewhat solo. The one worry is that Iron Bundle does have access to both Chilling Water or Hydro Pump, which Hydro Pump, considering this thing is probably going to activate Electric Terrain the first turn, a Quark Drive boosted Modest Nature Hydro Pump will basically take out most fire types. That can be slightly problematic, but of course with Fiery Dance, Shell Bell, and Acid Spray allowing it to support, this thing can do a lot of damage and actually will receive a benefit itself from Quark Drive if the Iron Bundle activates Electric Terrain. Volcarona is in many ways very similar to the Iron Moth. It does not possess as high of a special defense, but it does possess slightly better HP, and it does possess Quiver Dance, allowing it to set up and deal more damage more reliably. The Iron Moth does not receive this, so could be better to go with Volcarona over the Iron Moth, though slight issue if it does not get Acid Spray. Both of them also do get access to Struggle Bug, a special attack that will reduce the special damage of the Pokemon fighting against it, which can make them both good for support options. Speaking of Acid Spray, we have Hisuian Goodra. Only Hisuian Goodra gets access to Acid Spray, which is fantastic considering this thing's special defense is off the freaking chart. With a pair-up of a Flash Cannon and Steel Beam for big brute force damage, and the Shell Bell, it hits very hard, it can take hits decently well, and is quite survivable while being a good support Pokemon. I mentioned the fire types having a substantial risk beforehand, and that is because of the water moves and Quark Drive. Skeledirge, if you can get them to work, such as setting up Sunny Day, which there is going to be a Sunny Day setter on this list, the fire types become your best options. It cuts in half the power of all water type moves and increases the power of fire moves by 50%. Pair that up with Torch Song, which always boosts your special attack. It's kinda crazy. Though this is one instance you are not going to want Unaware on your Skeledirge. This is because if the Iron Bundle has either lowered special attack or lowered special defense, Unaware still ignores those. So you can have an Iron Bundle that's at -7. You can have an Iron Bundle that's at -6 special defense. It is going to do the same amount of damage to that Iron Bundle that it would do to a 0 special defense change Iron Bundle. So you avoid the positive changes, but you also ignore the negative changes. So it would be best to go with Blaze. Which thankfully, because of the ability patch, you can just keep retooling on and off. Arceus is another great damage dealer. The only issue with it is that you actually have to have the plate as its held item rather than being able to give the Shell Bell. But Steel Judgment is quite powerful. It does get access to recover for healing, and also gets Acid Spray, allowing it to do fantastic as support and damage. Annihilate is an interesting one. If this thing has access to Chilling Water or Icy Wind, Annihilate with Defiant is probably one of your best options. Defiant, Drain Punch, later on Rage Fist. It's fantastic. It's delightful and it is terrifying. But again, you are punching up against that really, really high physical defense. If it sets up Snowscape, you're going to be punching up that. If it has Aurora Veil, you're going to be punching up against that. But thankfully, it can tech on Brick Break in order to, well, break the Aurora Veil. It will not get rid of the defense increase that Snowscape grants it for the duration of Snowscape, but it will at least break the Aurora Veil. If you wish to destroy the Aurora Veil, or at the very least prevent the Snowscape from doing too much, there's a Lola Ninetails. It is very fast, not faster than Iron Bundle, but it is still decently fast. It does get Drought, so it will set up Sun immediately, depending on when the Iron Bundle sets up Snowscape, if it even does. That will be able to, well, support your Fire-type allies, allowing them to do out big burst damage from the get-go, allowing you to get ahead of it, which is quite good. It also gets Nasty Plot, so it can at least do some damage on its own, and its great special defense lets it somewhat survive well against the Water-type moves. Of the remaining options, Iron Hands, I would say, is probably the most tenuous at best. It and Iron Bundle are almost exact opposites in that one is very slow, one is very fast, one is a brute force physical attacker, one is a fantastic special attacker. The only similarity they have is both of them have a Garbo special defense. And that's kind of why this thing isn't a great option. If this thing gets off Electric Terrain, activates its own Quark Drive, it's not going to want to be taking those special attack hits, because again, how garbage this thing's special defense is. It can set up Belly Drum, and it can hit back with the strongest Belly Drum boosted Drain Punch. But that is putting it in substantial risk zone, and it's going to need a lot of ally support to be able to get to that point. It may not be worth it depending on how frequently we'll use things like Chilling Water, Stat Purge, and if it does set up Aurora Veil and Snowscape, it basically takes away all the advantages that Iron Hands brings. Slight after-action injection of a commentary for Dialga. The main reason for that is it is a very, very aggressive special-type dragon, which, while it will be taking neutral damage from Ice-type moves, it will resist the Water-type moves, which it may have more frequently used, and it is the most powerful special attacker of the Steel types that are available, with a 150 special attack, Flash Cannon is lethal coming from this thing. And also Steel Beam for big burst damage. But it does have that neutrality to Ice, which can be quite dangerous. At least until you're able to Terraphize into Pure Steel. With the Dialga event going on presently, it might be good to pick one up and use it as it's, well, a very powerful Pokemon. You're not going to want to go to Origin Form, as Origin Form has to consume the held item, and you will be wanting the Shell Bell on this thing. And now on to our support Pokemon, as there's quite a good number of them. The number one is Alcremie, and this derives exclusively from Alcremie's signature move, Decorate. A move that gives you a 2-stage boost to both your physical and your special attack. This makes some fire types that actually normally wouldn't be viable, things such as Charizard and the Brute Force Heatran, quite strong because their biggest weaknesses initially is that they don't have access to self-boosting moves, and this completely mitigates that. It also gets healing move access, so it's quite strong as a great support. It also has very good it also has very good special defense, allowing it to survive hits quite well without needing to be worried about. In a similar vein, we have Blissy. It doesn't possess Decorate, but it does possess vastly superior special defense and Helping Hand, as well as Life Dew and Heal Pulse. All around, it's one of your best options if it comes to a support Pokemon. In an Alchemy do kind of the same thing, but in slightly different ways. Offbeat support is actually Delphox, and the main reason for this is Delphox's access to Mystical Fire. It does possess significantly better special stats than some of the other fire types, allowing it to survive the water type moves slightly better, and Mystical Fire being both super effective and always decreasing the special attack of what you're going up against, lets it do some pretty decent damage while reducing the damage you're going to be taking from any of Iron Bundle's moves. It's not the most aggressive of fire types, but it's here for support and a little bit of chip damage. In the meantime, Grimmsnarl, the oldie but a goodie, fantastic beyond compare. Fake Tears, Spirit Break, Light Screen, what more do you need? Not much. This thing does basically everything you need to do and does it very, very well. As well as it does get access to Brick Break if you need to shatter some screens, it does a very good job of that. Alolan Mock. We've mentioned it before many times, and it's still just as fantastic as it is before. With its massive special defense stat, it actually can do very well against the very specially aggressive Iron Bundle, because Iron Bundle has no ground move that can hit it. Snarl decreases the special attack stat, Acid Spray decreases its special defense stat. All around, one of the best supporters there is. Mew, we know what Mew does. Acid Spray, Struggle Bug. It can tech on whatever move you want, so Flash Cannon, Flamethrower, whatever, Aura Sphere, whatever thing you actually want to give it, it can do. But it is not as good of support as something such as Arceus is, as Arceus just has simply better stats and recover access with a much more powerful move. It can do damage and it can do support, whereas Mew is basically all support. Umbreon is, once again, fantastic at doing many things. Access to Screech if you want to use a physical attacker, but I would not recommend using physical attackers. Gets access to Snarl and gets access to Fake Tears, allowing it to debuff both physical and to debuff both special offense and defense. An Helping Hand to let it support allies. All around, it's fantastic. Revavroom! Once more, it is a great oldie but a goodie. Acid Spray, access to special attacking steel moves, letting it hit that lower special defense stat that it lowers with Acid Spray. All around fantastic. Not the greatest in terms of damage, but again, it's there for support. Bit of an unorthodox one, but actually Frostmoth. Access to the wonderful Struggle Bug. If someone sets up Sun, it gets access to Weather Ball, so it can use Weather Ball Fire, and its massive special defense paired up with Icy Scales, something that reduces all special incoming damage by a half, basically lets it shrug off anything the Iron Bundle can throw at it. It can't really hit back too hard, but at the very least can make it so your allies don't get hit as hard in return. Bit of a silly one is Fluttermane. It is one of the few Pokemon that does get access to Mystical Fire itself, and it does have a massive special defense stat as is. Its HP is not the greatest, and it can somewhat fall into the offense-defense category because it does have very high offensive stats, but it's primarily going to be here for Mystical Fire support and debuffing the damage output that Iron Bundle is going to be throwing out. It also is outsped by Iron Bundle, unless Iron Bundle is activating Quark Drive, and Quark Drive is boosting its special attack because it has a modest nature. If Iron Bundle has anything other than a modest nature and it activates Quark Drive, it will always outspeed Fluttermane. Unless Fluttermane is Scarfed. So at the very least, you can get a jump on it if you have a little bit of speed investment, and hopefully this thing does modest. And last but not least, we have the silly one. I had to go with Buug. It is a very unorthodox and very, very interesting support Pokemon because of Battery. Battery increases allies' special attacking moves by 30%, gets the Violet access, it actually has the same defensive stats as the fully evolved Vikavolt, and with Mud Slap, it is capable of easily debuffing the accuracy of Iron Bundle. Considering Iron Bundle's best water move is Hydro Pump, which is slightly inaccurate as is, or it has to go with the very poor power Chilling Water, you don't really have that much to worry about when it comes to debuffing this thing's accuracy. If you debuff its accuracy, it won't be able to really hit you as easily, letting you just rack up free hits without problem. Now, this thing does no damage on its own. It is all there for support, all there for keeping allies alive. And if you are going with a designated Buug, you at least will be the good healer because you can heal everyone without needing to worry about, I need to make sure everyone is staying, I need to do my damage. Oh wait, we're getting low health. No, your whole thing is support and keeping their health up. So, it's quite good, not the greatest, not bad, and I felt it was kind of silly to throw in. And as mentioned before, do not bring Chi-Yu. The main reason for this goes into how Beads of Ruin works. We sort of mentioned a little bit before. It decreases all Pokemon on the field other than those holding Beads of Ruin. Drops its special defense by a quarter, so 25%. For a bit of a rough comparison, I just used the Pokemon Showdown damage calculator for this. If you have an Iron Bundle that has Electric Terrain and has auto-activated Quark Drive, a Chilling Water with activated Quark Drive will do between 90 to 107% of a Skeledurge's HP, provided the Skeledurge has no special defense investment, whereas a Skeledurge will deal between 102% to 120% of the standard Iron Bundle's HP if Beads of Ruin is active on the field. If Beads of Ruin is not active on the field, you will be doing 68% to 80% of the Skeledurge's HP with a Chilling Water from Iron Bundle, and the Skeledurge's Torch Song is going to do 76% to 90%. You really don't gain that much extra damage for how much extra damage you are taking. This thing is easily capable of flatlining a lot of Pokemon. The Iron Bundle is easily capable of flatlining a large number of Pokemon if Chi-Yu is on the field. Because with the sheer health advantage that Iron Bundle has, again, it's between 30 to 35 times normal health, a quarter of its special defense being lost, especially with how low its special defense naturally is, doesn't really take out a huge amount. But Pokemon that have purpose-built special defensive stats will get taken down by a huge margin because you're a lot squishier. Unless you are going in with a full team of Chi-Yu, it is not ideal to bring in Chi-Yu because Pokemon that hold Beads of Ruin are immune to Beads of Ruin's secondary effect. But that would require a lot of coordination in order to do. So while it can work, and it is very fun and very silly to use Chi-Yu, it is not a very good idea because it can very, very easily backfire. We're working on a much bigger video in the coming weeks about the best and worst Pokemon to use in Terra Raids, and really the Pokemon you should not be using in Terra Raids because they're very bad and actively a detriment to your allies and you. And for this one, Chi-Yu is a very big detriment. If this thing was a physical attacker, so say like Brute Bonnet was the raid boss that we were fighting, Chi-Yu would be fantastic for that. Because Brute Bonnet is a physical attacker, well, mostly physical. And it doesn't really do much against the type you're going to be fighting against it with. But for something like a big special beefy sweeper, like Iron Bundle, not a good idea to drop the special defense when it's very, very good at crushing Pokemon with their special defense being poor. But that is going to be all, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more, and comment below what you thought of this and what you're actually going to be running against the Iron Bundle Terra Raids. I am probably going to go with Goldengo, and if I can get a group of people going together with some sun shenanigans, we're going to go with Skeledurge. Florida Pokemon all the way, ladies and gentlemen. Let's rock and roll up.